Dear all, nice to have you here. A special welcome to you, dear alumni of the Culture and Management program in Görlitz and Dresden, and to you, dear chairpersons and cultural secretaries of the Sachsen cultural areas. Welcome to our motto, learning from each other. Magnificence, dear colleague Kratsch. I am blessed to be here on the university. So with your Mrs. Franke, that we can discuss here. I thank you for our engineers. And thank you for our you see, we can learn from each other through the communication. So what's the motto of our work? It's on the financial ministry. You see, so they are working hard. Then, first we'll get money, so then we can build something, just like railway station. And here you see this on the roof. When the Saxony, it's the task for, also a state for the culture. Functioning community is based on trust and confidence, on fides ac fiducia. Trust is confidence in the present and its justice. Confidence looks to the future in expectation of improving on the list's stable conditions. The Roman word for the confidence, fiducia, is also legal term, a contract about something entrusted in good faith. The contract between citizens and their municipality and state cannot be summarized more succinctly. Jan Sokol, the Czech presidential candidate to the Burgess forces, one remarked that of all the lectures, the one we had developed for Görlitz Klingenwalde had been the most popular and emphasized. Among them, what is the money? He answered with the Maltese master of the mind from 1566, non est esset fides. This coin here is not metal, but the tangible representation of trust. If we take the trust and confidence of the Saxons 1991-1994 in this conception and enforcement and implementation of the Saxon Cultural Areas Act and the yardstick, and if you compare this with the trust of the confidence of Saxony 2024, then, ladies and gentlemen, the creation of the Cultural Areas Act proves to the comparatively easy exercise. My initial hypothesis for today is the cultural policy challenge for local authorities, and the Free State in 2024 is significantly more demanding than 1994. One of the best indicators for the population's confidence in itself, in its future, in the birth date. On the slide, you can see now, after the last reproduction as at a high level in 1990 with 50,000 births, Saxony's women faced an extremely uncertain future. This led to the through in births in the cultural area year 1994 with less than half, only 22,000. But then it went steeply and steadily upwards, completely parallel to the Cultural Area Act, to the new peak in 2016 with 38 births. But you went social, so there will be a Science 6 test. We can try to do it. But then, many young people have immigrated to the Hikikomori at this Japanese called those to minimize their contact with the society. To paraphrase Chmielewski from Breslau, the keyword is agoraphobia. The agora is the publicity and phobia is the running away. So escape from the public sphere. Publicity is made possible in particular by art performances. After the end of the Metternich and Co. reign of terror on the failure of the St. Paul's Church in the 1849, theatres and museums had spread across Central Europe and as a place of civic communication. So by the railway station, you can see the hidden statue of the Schiller. So in Saxony, they are to go back to the birth numbers. The curve has been pointing ever more steeply downwards since 2017, from 2022 to 2023, alone by a further 10%. What does theory tell about the future direction of development in Saxony? Theory? This is the results. According to the hypothetical AE forecast, the less children will be born in Saxony in 2032, and there will be a negative birth rate. So such for artificial intelligence replacing learning in schools and universities in the future. You have to commit with negative trends. Perhaps we need less artificial intelligence and more artificial intelligence for Saxony's future. The trend is no less dramatic, as the loss of the trust in jeopardizing the foundations of democracy. If you add up the votes for the key year, so the votes for the NPD, AfD, and BSV in the voter surveys from 2015 onwards, you can see a strong upward trend. If you at the same time you always subtract those votes that go parties below 5%, you get the votes valid for the seats in the state parliament, of which the quorum for a majority in the state parliament. As you can see, the tide wing votes currently exceeded for the quorum. It happens of the 1st September, there will be no conservative majority related by the left. The trends are lost confidence in the birth-late development and loss of confidence in the voter migration coincide. So it will be very hardly. So we have the this trusting, so curve is go down. According to Luhmann, trust is a risky advanced performance. Today's problems, writes Adron Sterblich from I have the honor to welcoming, he's here to the room. Today's problems are above all the causes and consequences of the abuse and disappointment of trust. If the task of all political levels in the coming years restore citizens' trust in state justice and their confidence in their personal future. The task, however, is a task for properly understood cultural policy. So this is really a task for the culture policy. We heard today how miserable situation, how we can to get or to do the opposite one. So now is the task for us. So who are the all political levels? Germany's social system is built on their pillars. The first pillar is the state, which does not physically exist, but it's purely narrative construct. Benedict Anderson imagined community. In Germany, it consists of the core state at the level of 16 federal states and the federal government of the states, with each responsible for the few tasks, essentially legal framework, currency, foreign affairs, defense, and is jointly responsible for the establishment of equal living conditions. The second pillar of the social system is the municipalities. In Germany, they can look back on around 800 years of municipal constitution with their own statutory sovereignty, with the framework of the laws. They consist of the two levels of the 10. I'm speaking too quiet. So 10,994 municipalities, including the 107 independent cities or urban districts. So commune is the both of this arts. But the third pillar of our social system in civic service, and especially important, this is not easy to translate, municipalities and civil society together from the core of both social cohesion and democracy. As a recent study to be into the Institute addressing on local identity, linked on the specific location of the municipality, found a strong civil society makes the people less vulnerable to nationalist phantasmagorias. This is why civil society is a thorn of the side in autocratic regimes such as those in the Russian Federation, Belarus, and People's Republic of China, or currently in Georgia. They are successfully use agent laws to defame it. Whereas the civil citizens are awake, there's the hope. The classic definition of a civil society is going good for the community and explicitly beyond the circle of family members. According to the fifth German survey of the volunteering 2019, 8 million people in Germany, or 13.9% of people aged 13 and over, we are involved in the volunteering. The trend is clearly increasing. They are more and more the people they are engaged for the other people. And most people are involved in the sport and exercise. This is followed by the areas of culture and music, the social sector, and schools and kindergartens. Social area, it's school and kindergarten. And all argue local identity is a decisive factor for personal initiative and commitment, as well as for local social political stability. If citizens lose this emotional bond, this is a breeding ground for populist parties, and there is a risk of the decline in urgently needed social commitment. Services of general interest must be targeted in order to open up the options for the future. What does the approach for the Saxon's cultural policy? So I see now Mr. Zenka. The basic law in the financial contraction contain a crucial law for it would be desirable. In Article 77 were supplemented by paragraph 5 stating payment arising from legislative decisions of the Bundestag shall be borne of the federal budget. So we need a discussion, general discussion. The country is so so much. The result is that we have the district of Görlitz, we have a social budget of 70%, which is a pushed all over the budgets into the single-digit range. The district lacks the scope of organize itself and is unable to adequately perform the range of tasks required to provide a comprehensive service of general interest. This has direct consequences for the municipalities. We finance this district via the district levy. I cannot emphasize it enough that the implicit basic assumption of the Saxon Cultural Areas Act was the therefore structure. The Free State finances is state cultural instructions, the administrative districts and the cultural areas finance the regionally significant culture. So in 1994, the county levy was 25%, leaving the majors with 75% of the tax revenue and allocations for their own budget and local need. In 2024, however, the district levy will be 44% higher than in 1994, namely 36%. So the Bundestag had increased the percent. So Mr. Meyer has more now by 44%. So, and Herr Zenker oder Herr Hummel has had difference of the 15%. This is the whole, exactly the 15% of the Dame on budget, what they used to finance local culture in 1994. Seen in this light, the Cultural Areas Act now lacks its central reason that namely in the complementary function of locally significant culture. The basic requirements, but must be urgently restored. Yeah, I fully agree with the Association of Cities and Countries with the calling for a fundamental reorganization of municipal finances. I briefly look back. You know the challenge what the Federal Finance Minister Weigel triggered. They have only succeeded with the serious discussion about the above mentioned paragraph 5 on the Article 77 of the Basic Law. But the cultural area law it failed. So the complementary function is now there. So, and the importance. So it's very important situation. So this is more difficult to the task. We have to more work together. So the but I fully agree with it. With the discussion about the federal financial construction is very important. A brief look back. You all know the challenge that the Federal Finance Minister Weigel triggered in the 1992 when he announced the federal cultural funding totaling the 150 million Deutschmark for Saxony would you soon be discounted without replacement. We responded with the Cultural Areas Act so that the art could continue to watch over Saxony's citizens. Other parts of the world, art and culture may be amenities, intentional, nice to have, and listen in property adverts and a distant memory. In Saxony, art is res severa, a serious matter, as they say at the Leipzig Gewandhaus. When the law was passed on the 17th December 1994, the committee chairman spoke of culture of the water of life. But when the Cultural Areas Act was published in the official gazette of 20 January 1994 and came into force 30 years ago on 3rd August, a completely different kind of institutions began. When I was setting up the Institute of Cultural Infrastructure and devoting myself entirely to science, I suddenly received a news in April 1995, the district of Zwickau of others were preparing a constitutional complaint against the Free State of the nation, who had issued the Kulturräume administrative regulation in all those months. Nobody. Who had issued the founding guidelines? Nobody. Who has complied the cultural statistics? Nobody. Who issued the grant notification? Nobody. The ministerial staff in the legal department had gone to strike because they obviously didn't like what the state's parliament had decided into cooperation with the Minister of Art, Minister of Finance, or the Association of Counties and the Association of Cities. I reported the Minister of State Meyer and head of a department Rainer Zimmermann. They sent me on the round trip to all districts administrators, and quite a lot of them, and assigned me a coordinator. I was given two assistants. They both are here in this room, Andreas Bracher and Angelika Burkhardt. Thank you once again. And on 13 June, the administrative regulation finding guidelines on the cultural statistics were ready. In the response to the indiscretions of the Ministers of Justice, I had written a computer program in which I only had to enter figures from the cultural statistics and then press a button to obtain the grant amounts. But nobody, not even State Secretary Noack, wanted to sign the grant notifications, so I signed them myself, which was downright illegal, as I was neither a civil servant nor employee for the state government. But the money arrived, the cultural centers were able to start their work. We could work forwards. Diese anecdotes from the distant past, in her capacity as cultural policy spokesperson for the Bündnis 90 the Grünen parliamentary group, Claudia Meicher, chairwoman of the Culture Committee in the Saxon State Parliament, has been processing for several years for the statistical basics for the State Parliament spending decisions. But in when? Who do something? Nobody. Who has something? Nobody. The cultural statistics unfounded were discontinued in 2015, as I was informed by the Common State Office, the Association of Cities and Towns, and the Association of Counties. In preparation for my speech today, I contacted you, Mr. Real Director Markus Franke. So I'm glad to see that the state government see the importance for the statistics. And Mr. Müller has now the task to make the statistics in cultural term. So these statistics are not so easy to write. so we have to count it, and now we have nothing on the paper. So, and we have a lot of singing groups, and so nobody knows exactly how much of them and what they are making. So citizens are not so we can see it, or they could. So we have to work harder. So we have done the numbers of the. So you are looking on this statistics here. So you see the state once. So the task is very hard, what we are going to do. So Landtag is saying yes. So we have to manage it. That's what I wanted to do, to have my first demand. Once the figures are available, will be increase and dynamization of cultural policy funding for all sectors. The structurally non-essential theater special pot can be absorbed into this. To the original task to the Neumann Commission was the theater law. So, moment. Cultural policy is also social policy. I'm thinking, for example, for dancers who are at the bottom of the heap when it comes to lifetime remuneration in the arts. Conversely, cultural expenditure must not mutate into the self-service shop for artists associations. I am extremely critical when regional associations participate in the Cultural Advisory Council. So secondly, I would like to emphasize that the recording of the gaps in investment in cultural buildings that I began has not been continued. The graph shows the disparity between cultural expenditure to the administrative budget versus the capital budget. So we have also Stadthalle. That is necessary. That's something to do. For foreseeable consequence, even though it was unusual cultural buildings, for example, the Görlitz Town Hall. So here is the order of the one of the government councillors. So the problem is that the association in the social and cultural sector are increasingly refraining from the submitting funding applications because they are not wrong to shy away from the association liability issues. It is widely reported Saxon's administration are increasingly moving from the interpretation according to meaning of the purpose, as it calls in legal jargon, and the interpretation of words. This affects civil society to the core, as it was necessary not to undergo any training and administrative law, expenditure law of accounting. The Saxon Abitur is not so sufficient condition to be protected from founding pitfalls, so that many have existential consequences. I have acquired at least in the local cultural area, there is not a single case known where the secondary school pupil has exercises the right to apply for funding to which they are naturally entitled. However, if we expectedly exclude the majority of our fellow citizens from the application process, the C in the name of the party of which I am a member does not have much a place. My fourth recommendation is along the same lines. In principle, I think it makes sense to cap institutional funding at 80% for the future cultural area budget, so there is a room for funding long-term and short-term initiatives. For institutional funding, a planning period of 5 years seems insensible to me. This makes administration easier and gives the organizations planning security. Due to the legal fixation of the cultural area funds, there are possibilities for these principles. As special future and long-term initiatives, they are supported by strong personalities and conversely are dependent of them. I believe that a planning period of the 3 years and the budget share of 10% makes this sense here, and fundamental change from the year to year and the nicer film festival organismo days. However, so we have to change the perspective. So our pupils have to more trust to the governments and the councillors and yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to some more. For the first time in this city. So we have here, das program. So we have the two laws, and our task is to continue the culture. It was very difficult to get the numbers and the statistics. So they are how much money they get and how much money they spend, and now the spending money for the culture area. So in the good years, we have 24% less for the culture. Now, Landrat Meyer has said we have very complicated financing situation. So is my question, what expectations have the citizens and government, local government have, that the culture has more importance than in other years? So John Kennedy's inaugural address continues. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will for you, but what together we can do for freedom of men. So Saxony's Cultural Areas Act is a joint municipal achievement. The decisive achievement is the advance deduction of the 1% from the Financial Equalization Fund. The majors agreed that the overall system of municipal culture was maintained with the funds for which they were actually entitled. In fact, every municipality in Saxony, no matter how small, financial, of Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchestra, with its many musicians position, the Free State financed the same amount. To this day, most people have now understood that the so-called state funds that flow into the cultural areas are not result of the pact between the municipalities and the second part of the Free State. The two times 60 million Deutschmark plus the previous state complementary funds for the now dried federal funds with a further 30 million complementary funds for the now dried up federal funds with the further 30 million, which is successfully presented in an enable label. And ultimately, 1994 and Free States total expended of state funds. So my time is out, so we have now time for the discussion. We need the ideas, they are so strong, so that all the authorities can take it and work with it. So in yet every house we have here, in the next 10 years, for the Everbird that we have to go with a gift, so and celebrate it. And when everybody will participate that, so will be now our Saxony for the Saxony. That is our idea. So you have seen the blue party are increasing. So this what we have achieved in our life will be more gratified. So we have two people. They are going to try to make the situation better. So just like by Augustus, what is here wrong in the state? Where is the specific situation? So we have to be active by ourselves. So das were the important sentence for the culture and politics in Saxony. So the identity question is now not our topic. So this is more the our intellectual fatherland. So not only 10% for the culture. So more than the 10% should be spent for the culture. So a lot of people are now retired. So and the retired people are very poor. So that was the task for the 2034. So thank you very much for your attention.